Good morning and welcome to the Christabelle Spiritualist Church on this beautiful May day. It really is so good to see you all here today. I love looking out upon this wonderful group of people every week. It always makes me happy to see so many familiar faces as well as new faces that I hope will become familiar faces. We really are blessed to have a wonderful group here, aren't we? The fellowship of spiritualism is strong with us. I was actually thinking about this last week when I was standing up here and watching all of you before beginning the day's service. I saw people from all over northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin just sitting and chatting. Some of you have come from an hour or more away, and yet some of you live practically around the corner. But you've all found your way here to the Christabelle Spiritualist Church. It was so much fun for me to watch all of you because almost everyone here was either turned around and chatting or, they were shouting across the chapel to send a greeting to an old friend or a new one. And that actually does remind me of a quote by Mrs. Dorothy C. Wegner of Santa Fe, New Mexico. There are no strangers, only friends you haven't met. Watching all of you here last week really made that quote a literal truth for me. I continue to be amazed, no matter how many times that infinite intelligence or spirit is seen in action by me. I'm amazed by the different ways in which people can all be brought together with like-minded people. After all, birds of a feather do indeed flock together, sometimes in the best possible ways. I know that everyone was enjoying themselves that day because I actually had to chastise the pastor's wife for continuing to talk even after we were ready to start our service. Social hour can come after. For the record, I am well aware of just how lucky of a man I am. Now, for many reasons, but one of them really is because of the woman who has chosen to stand with me in the middle of this craziness that is the life of a spiritualist pastor. That thought actually does bring up something else that I was reflecting upon while standing here on the service, ready for the service last Sunday. March 1st of 2020, I was officially given the student pastor title for our church. What that means is that since there was no one person filling the role of pastor for Christabelle, I was given the task of guiding the spiritual aspects of this particular church and its members. A role that I do happen to take quite seriously. During my brief tenure standing here serving the platform, our chapel has been closed to in-person services for much longer than I really care to think about. I missed you all during that shutdown period. It really does speak to the strength of our membership, however, that we still have you wonderful people all sitting here before me. Really, our church membership has gone through quite a bit during that time, haven't we? We've seen some people who've been pretty consistently coming here, after we closed and reopened, they're still coming. We've also lost some members who are with us for quite a while, and at the same time, now we've gained even more new members to our church family as well. I love and appreciate how many of you have stuck with us during these challenging and changing times. As we move out of this pandemic and into an exciting and new phase for this church, I am filled with a great sense of pride for the way that we've all managed to come together here. I really am. First, we've come together with our virtual congregation that started to grow during the pandemic lockdown when we created the Christabelle Spiritualist Church Facebook group. I saw a lot of people posting and getting to know one another who had never met before or who lived on opposite sides of the globe from each other. Not only does our Facebook group have members from as far away as Germany and Australia, we also have people in our group from across the United States and Great Britain as well. How amazing is that? I mean, really, that is incredible to me. It fills my heart with joy to see that, to know that the messages of spiritualism are truly reaching people. To me, it shows just how universal the spiritualist way of thinking truly is. I believe that this is something very important for us to remember as we go forward in life and as we see so many people struggling and suffering, looking for a place in the world that they can be themselves, that they can feel safe, comfortable, and most important to me personally, empowered. We are here today because we have all found that place, a safe assemblage from which we can all learn, grow, strive, and thrive. A place for us to find others of like mind who will be there with us during our failures as well as our successes. A family of like mind, here to be supportive and helpful, willing to be standing with us and helping us not only during our times of trouble, but our times of joy as well. Let us all focus on bringing more of that joy, not only to our own lives, but to the lives of our fellow spiritualists, as well as the world at large. The world needs that right now. The sunflower has been wisely chosen as the symbol of the Spiritualist church, and for very good reason, actually. Not the least of which is due to the fact that the sunflower will turn its face toward the light of the sun. This parallels the spiritualist understanding that we also turn towards the light of truth. There's also an old belief that sunflowers, when they cannot find the light of the sun, that they will turn their face towards each other. And doesn't that sound quite a bit like what we do here? I really think it does. How often have you turned to one of your fellow Christabelle members for help when you couldn't find the light for yourself? I'll bet that even with our more recent members, that you have at some point reached out to your fellow Christabelles. Am I right? As I am looking out over this wonderful group of people here today, do you know what I see? I see an amazing field of spiritualist sunflowers. Every one of you sitting here to help each other find that light of truth. The light of spiritualism, the knowledge, the understanding that death is not the end. It is just the beginning of a brand new adventure for each of us. As such, it is not anything to be feared. When we reach the twilight of our time here on this earthly plane of existence, our loved ones will be with us, waiting to help us, to love us, to remind us of the amazing new adventure that we are each about to embark upon. When I am standing here speaking of that field of sunflowers before me, I want to make sure that you understand that obviously I am speaking metaphorically. But if you take that metaphor and you think about it for a moment, I think you will see that it works with each of us people as well. There are many different types of sunflowers, just as there are many different types of people. Sunflowers come in many different color combinations, many different shades, different sizes, and they all relate to the part of the world in which they originated from. Yet, they can thrive just about anywhere, because even though they may appear to be different on their surface, inside, they're all the same. 70 varieties of sunflowers, all different shapes, sizes, colors, yet they're all sunflowers. Just like each and every one of us sitting here today. On the surface, we may appear to be quite different. We come in different shades, different shapes, different sizes. Deep down, where it is truly important, however, We are all the same. We are all a spirit and a soul that is inhabiting a physical body. As beautiful sunflowers, I think you have all seen that we have something very important in common. Not just that we are all each looking to become, better, stronger, happier people, but also because we have looked at our lives and we have decided that we want better. Not just for ourselves, but for everyone. Also, just like almost every other plant in nature, the sunflower is stronger in a group. While the solitary sunflower can thrive, it is not as protected from the elements as those that are surrounded in a field of other sunflowers. Together, they are infinitely stronger than they are alone. As spiritualists, we are all seeking the deeper meaning behind what we see with our eyes or hear with our ears. We are a group of people for whom the phrase, "because I said so," just is not good enough. If there is one trait that each of us here have in common, aside from our knowledge and our understanding of life beyond this one, it is the fact that we are a very stubborn, inquisitive group who are always looking for the deeper meaning behind existence. We are looking for the why that exists behind the eternal what of life. That yearning to pull back the curtain and see what the wizard is up to is how we have all come to have such a strong understanding of natural law, as well as how we come by our own declaration of principles. We have those spiritualists who have come before us to thank for our current knowledge of those phenomena, as well as the principles that came from that knowledge. Remember that we are all but seeds of the great sunflower of spiritualism. As such, we all have our roots in spirit. The stem on our spiritualist sunflower comes in the form of natural law, which keeps everything standing strong and tall in an orderly fashion. The leaves on our sunflower are made from the principles of spiritualism, meant to help us each be more aware of the light of truth and help us to more easily turn towards that light. The petals on our sunflower, they represent our loved ones and guides in spirit, always surrounding us, guiding us, protecting us. And finally, we are the seeds at the center. It is up to each of us to stay safe in that floral center until we are ready to burst forth into the world. Each ready to spread the light of spiritualist truth so that others may know the greater peace, joy, and happiness which spiritualism provides. We are all part of the field of sunflowers that make up the Christabelle Spiritualist Church. We are also members of a national organization that have roots that go quite deeply, and much like the sunflower, reaches to the light every day in the most profound ways. I am asking you to remember this very important thought. We all struggle on occasion. We all feel like we are sometimes alone in this world. Even though we may be dealing with challenges of our own, we sometimes mistakenly believe that no one will understand what we are going through. They will judge us for what we struggle with. Please know that as spiritualists, the science, philosophy, and religion of spiritualism places no stigma on first seeking qualified medical care in whatever field is deemed necessary. And second, understand that not only are your fellow sunflowers here to help in whatever way that they can, I am here to help in whatever capacity that I can as well. Even if that means referring you to someone who is more qualified than myself, I will still be standing there with you in whatever capacity that I am able to do. As you go forth this week, dear wonderful Christabelle dear wonderful spiritualist sunflowers, as you go forth this week, remember the fellowship, the camaraderie, the mutual respect, and understanding that exists here. Try to remember that there is no them and us, that they are us. We are all in this life and the next together. As the sunflower turns its face toward the light of the sun, so spiritualism turns the face of humanity toward the light of truth. Thank you.